Hi everybody. I am going to do a continuation of chapter 15 of Harry Potter. I posted a video of the first half of chapter 15 on my YouTube page not that long ago, and then that video was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, so I cut it right there, and so now I am on page 250. If you have Harry Potter at your house, chapter 15. And like I said in the last Harry Potter video, I am not starting from the beginning because that would take me a long time to film myself reading. But so I'm starting all the way almost at the end, like very close to being at the end, because my class was reading Harry Potter as their read aloud when schools got shut down. And now it looks like we're not going back to school this year. So I happen to have this copy at my house, and I thought it would be nice if you're sitting around bored at your house and missing school and missing your friends. Maybe you could close your eyes and listen to me read Harry Potter, and that would help you feel like, I don't know, feel more at peace with not going back to school. And I thought it would be nice, and I miss reading to you guys, so this is good for me too. Okay, so I'm on page 250, chapter 15 in the Forbidden Forest. And Malfoy, Harry, Hermione, and Fang are in the Forbidden Forest as punishment. This is their detention. So I'm not totally sure where I left off last video. I'm just going to start at the top of this page, at the top of 250. I don't know if you can hear that. That's my dishwasher going. So sorry if that's annoying. Okay, 250. Malfoy didn't move. Where am I? He looked at Hagrid furiously, but then dropped his gaze. Right then, said Hagrid. Now listen carefully, because it's dangerous what we're going to do tonight, and I don't want no one taking risks. Follow me over here a moment. He led them over to the very edge of the forest. Holding his lamp up high, he pointed down a narrow, winding earth track that disappeared into the thick black trees. A light breeze lifted their hair as they looked into the forest. Look here, said Hagrid. See that stuff shining on the ground? Silvery stuff? That's unicorn blood. There's a unicorn in here been hurt badly by something, and this is the second time in a week. I found one dead last Wednesday, and we're going to try and find the poor thing. We might have to put it out of its misery. And what if whatever hurt the unicorn finds us first, said Malfoy, unable to keep the fear out of his voice. There's nothing that lives in the forest that'll hurt you if you're with me or Fang, said Hagrid, and keep to the path. Right. Now we're going to split into two parties and follow the trail in different directions. There's blood all over the place. It must have been staggering around since last night at least. I want Fang, said Malfoy quickly, looking at Fang's long teeth. All right, but I warn you, he's a coward, said Hagrid. So me, Harry, and Hermione will go one way, and Draco, Neville, and Fang will go the other. Now, if any of us finds the unicorn, we'll send up green sparks, right? Get your wands out and practice now. That's it. And if anyone gets in trouble, send up red sparks, and we'll all come and find you. So be careful. Let's go. The forest was black and silent. A little way into it, they reached a fork in the earth path, and Harry, Hermione, and Hagrid took the left path, while Malfoy, Neville, and Fang took the right. They walked in silence, their eyes on the ground. Every now and then a ray of moonlight through the branches above lit a spot of silver blue blood on the fallen leaves. Harry saw that Hagrid looked very worried. Could a werewolf be killing the unicorns? Harry asked. Not fast enough, said Hagrid. It's not easy to catch a unicorn. They're powerful magic creatures, and I never knew one to be hurt before. They walked past a mossy tree stump. Harry could hear running water. There must be a stream somewhere close by. There were still spots of unicorn blood here and there along the winding path. You all right, Hermione? Hagrid whispered. Don't worry, it can't have gone far if it's this badly hurt, and then we'll be able to get behind that tree. Hagrid seized Harry and Hermione and hoisted them off the path behind a towering oak. He pulled out an arrow and fitted it into his crossbow, raising it ready to fire. All three of them listened. Something was slithering over dead leaves nearby, It sounded like a cloak trailing along the ground. Hagrid was squinting up the dark path, but after a few seconds the sound faded away. I knew it, he murmured. There's something in there that shouldn't be. A werewolf, Harry suggested. That wasn't no werewolf, and it wasn't no unicorn neither, said Hagrid grimly. Right, follow me, but careful now. They walked more slowly, ears straining for the faintest sound. Suddenly, in a clearing ahead, something definitely moved. Who's there? Hagrid called. Show yourself. I'm armed. And into the clearing came, was it a man or a horse? To the waist, a man with red hair and beard, but below that was a horse's gleaming chestnut body with a long reddish tail. Harry and Hermione's jaws dropped. Oh, it's you, Ronan, said Hagrid in relief. How are you? He walked forward and shook the centaur's hand. Good evening to you, Hagrid, said Ronan. He had a deep, sorrowful voice. Were you going to shoot me? Can't be too careful, Ronan, said Hagrid, patting his crossbow. There's something bad loose in the forest. This is Harry Potter and Hermione Granger, by the way, students up at the school. And this is Ronan, you two. He's a centaur. We noticed, said Hermione faintly. Good evening, said Ronan. Students, are you? And do you learn much up at the school? A bit, said Hermione timidly. A bit. Well, that's something, Ronan sighed. He flung back his head and stared at the sky. Mars is bright tonight. Yeah, said Hagrid, glancing up. Listen, I'm glad we've run into you, Ronan, because there's a unicorn been hurt, and have you seen anything? Ronan didn't answer immediately. He stared unblinkingly upward, then sighed again. Always the innocent are the first victims, he said. So it has been for ages past, so it is now. Yeah, said Hagrid, but have you seen anything, Ronan? Anything unusual? Mars is bright tonight, Ronan repeated while Hagrid watched him impatiently. Unusually bright. Yeah, but I was meaning anything unusual a bit nearer to home, said Hagrid. So you haven't noticed anything strange? Yet again, Ronan took a while to answer. At last he said, the forest hides many secrets. A movement in the trees behind Ronan made Hagrid raise his bow again, but it was only a second centaur, black-haired, and bodied and wilder looking than Ronan. Hello, Bane, said Hagrid. All right? Good evening, Hagrid. I hope you are well. Well enough. Look, I've just been asking Ronan, you seen anything odd in here lately? There's a unicorn been injured, and would you know anything about it? Bane walked over to stand next to Ronan. He looked skyward. Ours is bright tonight, he said simply. We've heard, said Hagrid grumpily. Well, if either of you do see anything, let me know, won't you? We'll be off then. Harry and Hermione followed him out of the clearing, staring over their shoulders at Ronan and Bane until the trees blocked their view. Never, said Hagrid irritably. Try to get a straight answer out of a centaur. Ruddy stargazers, not interested in anything closer to the moon. How many of them in here, said Hermione. Oh, a fair few. Keep themselves to themselves, mostly. But they're good enough for turning up if I ever want a word. They're deep, mind centaurs. They know things. And they just don't let on much. Do you think that was a centaur we heard earlier, said Harry. Did that sound like hooves to you? Nah, if you ask me, that's what's been killing the unicorns. Never heard anything like it before. They walked on through the dense dark trees. Harry kept looking nervously over his shoulder. He had a nasty feeling they were being watched. He was very glad he had Hagrid and his crossbow with them. They had just passed a bend in the path when Hermione grabbed Hagrid's arm. Hagrid, look! Red sparks! The others are in trouble. You two wait here, Hagrid shouted. Stay on the path. I'll come back for you. They heard him crashing his way through the undergrowth and stood looking at each other, very scared, until they couldn't hear anything but the rustling of leaves around them. You don't think they've been hurt, do you? Whispered Hermione. I don't care if Malfoy has, but if something's got Neville, it's our fault he's here in the first place. The minutes dragged by. Their ears seemed sharper than usual. Harry seemed to be picking up every sigh of the wind, every cracked twig. What was going on? Where were the others? At last, a great crunching noise announced Hagrid's return. Malfoy, Neville, and Fang were with him. Hagrid was fuming. Malfoy, it seemed, had sneaked up behind Neville and grabbed him as a joke. Neville had panicked and set up sparks. We'll be lucky to catch anything now with a racket you two were making. Right, we're changing groups. Neville, you stay with me and Hermione. Harry, you go with Fang and this idiot. I'm sorry, Hagrid added in a whisper to Harry, but he'll have a harder time frightening you, and we've got to get this done. So Harry set off into the forest with Malfoy and Fang. They walked for nearly half an hour deeper and deeper into the forest until the path became almost impossible to follow because the trees were so thick. Harry thought the blood seemed to be getting thicker. There were splashes on the roots of a tree, as though the poor creature had been thrashing around in pain close by. Harry could see a clearing ahead, through tangled branches of an ancient oak. "Look," he murmured, holding out his arm to stop Malfoy. Something bright white was gleaming on the ground. They inched closer. It was the unicorn, all right, but it was dead. Harry had never seen anything so beautiful and so sad. Its long, slender legs were stuck out at odd angles where it had fallen, and its mane was spread pearly white on the dark leaves. Harry had taken one step toward it when a slithering sound made him freeze where he stood. A bush on the edge of the clearing quivered. Then out of the shadows, a hooded figure came crawling across the ground like some stalking beast. Harry, Malfoy, and Fang stood transfixed. The cloaked figure reached the unicorn, lowered its head over the wound in the animal's side, and began to drink its blood. "Ah!" Malfoy let out a terrible scream and bolted, and so did Fang. The hooded figure raised its head and looked right at Harry. Unicorn blood was dribbling down its front. It got to its feet and came swiftly toward Harry. He couldn't move for fear. Then a pain like he'd never felt before pierced his head. It was as though his scar were on fire. Half blinded, he staggered backward. He heard hooves behind him, galloping, and then something jumped clean over Harry, charging at the figure. The pain in Harry's head was so bad he fell to his knees. It took a minute or two to pass. When he got up, the figure had gone. A centaur was standing over him, not Ronan or Bane. This one looked younger. He had white blonde hair and a palomino body. "Are you all right?" said the centaur, pulling Harry to his feet. "Yes, thank you. What was that?" The centaur didn't answer. He had astonishingly blue eyes, like pale sapphires. He looked carefully at Harry, his eyes lingering on the scar that stood out, livid on Harry's forehead. "You are the Potter boy," he said. "You had better get back to Hagrid. The forest is not safe at this time, especially for you. Can you ride? It will be quicker this way." "My name is Firenze," he added, as he lowered himself to his front legs so Harry could clamber onto his back. There was a sudden sound of more galloping from the other side of the clearing. Ronan and Bane came bursting through the trees, their flanks heaving and sweaty. "Firenze," Bane thundered, "what are you doing? You have a human on your back. Have you no shame? Are you a common mule?" "Do you realize who this is?" said Firenze. "This is the Potter boy. The quicker he leaves the forest, the better." "What have you been telling him?" growled Bane. "Remember, friends, we are sworn not to set ourselves against the heavens. Have we not read what has come in the movements of the planets?" Ronan pawed the ground nervously. "I'm sure Firenze thought he was acting for the best," he said in his gloomy voice. Bane kicked his back legs in anger. "For the best? What is it to do with us? Centaurs are concerned with what has been foretold. It is not our business to run around like donkeys after stray humans in the forest." Firenze suddenly reared on his hind legs in anger, so that Harry had to grab onto his shoulders to stay on. "Do you not see that unicorn?" Firenze bound at Bane. "Do you not understand why it was killed? Or have the planets not let you in on that secret? I set myself against what is lurking in this forest, Bane. Yes, along with humans alongside me, if I must." Firenze whisked around, and Harry clutched on as best he could as they plunged off into the trees, leaving Ronan and Bane behind them. Harry didn't have a clue what was going on. "Why is Bane so angry?" he asked. "What was that thing you saved me from, anyway?" Firenze slowed to a walk and warned Harry to keep his head bowed in case of low-hanging branches, but did not answer Harry's question. They made their way through the trees in silence for so long that Harry thought Firenze didn't want to talk to him anymore. They were passing through a particularly dense patch of trees, however, when Firenze suddenly stopped. "Harry Potter, do you know what unicorn blood is used for?" "No," said Harry, startled by the odd question. "We've only used the horn and the tail hair in potions." "That is because it is a monstrous thing to slay a unicorn," said Firenze. "Only one who has nothing to lose and everything to gain would commit such a crime. The blood of a unicorn will keep you alive, even if you are an inch from death, but at a terrible price. You've slain something pure and defenseless to save yourself, and you will have but a half-life, a cursed life, from the moment the blood touches your lips." "But who be that desperate?" he wondered aloud. "If you're going to be cursed forever, death's better, isn't it?" "It is," Firenze agreed, unless all you need is to stay alive long enough to drink something else, something that will bring you back to full strength and power, something that will mean you can never die. Mr. Potter, do you know what is hidden At the school this very moment? The Sorcerer's Stone, of course, the elixir of life. But I don't understand who... Sorry. Can you think of nobody who has waited many years to return to power, who has clung to life, awaiting their chance? It was as though an iron fist had clenched suddenly around Harry's heart. Over the rustling of the trees, he seemed to hear once more what Hagrid had told him on the night they had met. Some say he died. Codswallop, in my opinion, to know if he had enough human left in him to die. Do you mean, Harry croaked, that was Harry! Harry, are you all right? Hermione was running toward them down the path, Hagrid puffing along behind her. I'm fine, said Harry, hardly knowing what he was saying. The unicorn's dead, Hagrid. It's in that clearing back there. This is where I must leave you, Firenze murmured as Hagrid hurried off to examine the unicorn. You're safe now. Harry slid off his back. Good luck, Harry Potter, said Firenze. The planets have been read wrongly before now, even by centaurs. I hope that this is one of those times. He turned and cantered back into the depths of the forest, leaving Harry shivering behind him. We've only got like maybe a page and a half left of this chapter, but I'm going to stop there because this is a long video. I have stopped on page 259. If you've got this book, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, at home, you can read along with me. You can read ahead of me. As long as you're reading, however you want to do it, that's okay with me. And I will post another video soon between grading papers and posting lessons and posting videos and stuff. This is sort of like an extra thing that I don't really have to do every day, but I like to do when I have time. So we're on page 259 and we only have we have to get to page 309 before we're done. So you do that math, however long we've got left to finish this book. So I'll post another one soon. Get out there and enjoy this beautiful day. And I will talk to you soon, I hope. Bye.